Hi, this is you're at the Seven Shot Tennis podcast, and I'm Dave Howell, and my partner in crime here is Dan McCain. Dan McCain played college tennis at University of Michigan, and has been
Very
a
long time ago.
long time ago. But I should tell you, he still has game, and whereas I played college tennis at Old Dominion College before it was even a university. I do not still have game, but Dan is a practicing teaching pro and coach. I'm recovering teaching pro and coach, but we're partners in seven shot tennis. And Dan's going to tell you a little bit about seven shot tennis.
We provide essentially what I like to call video analytics, which is where you can cross-reference the match film with the statistical data that we provide, which is very different than what anyone else provides. All the other companies are just going to tell you you miss strokes, you miss that stroke, and they're not going to give you any information with forced errors, and you won't know anything about where the winners you hit were hit from, where they went, and where all the errors. You won't have any detail, and that's the difference between us. We provide statistical data that includes tactical positions and target areas, and we also provide impact shots. And the fact that we include forced errors gives you a complete picture of how matches were really won and lost.
So all of the points are accounted for.
All of them. Imagine that.
Yeah. So when I'm watching on TV and they pull up something at the end of a set and they said that, well, uh, Taylor Fritz hit so many winners and so many unforced errors and so many aces, and uh, Djokovic did this and did that, and I add all that up, and then they say, well, there's like 180 points here, but when I add it all up, there's only 120 points. What happened to those other 60 points?
Yeah, those are all forced errors
Um,
that nobody
those are
can.
forced errors, and if I'm a player, I'm sorry, Dan's a player. Do I really care that much about how many winners I hit? As long as I'm getting credit for my forcing shots just as good as a winner. Um, so that's a big part of our proposition.
Yeah, so we're going to look at an example of one of the college teams that we've been working with, where one of the players for UVA and one of the players for University of Kentucky, they played each other in a challenger in Calgary in Canada last fall. All right, so now we're in the app and we've got all these different matches that we've charted. And when we find the match we're looking for, we're going to click load match, and that'll take us to, and the breakdown is where all the magic starts. So we've got Liam Draxel. This is the guy he's from Canada, but this is the guy that plays for University of Kentucky. And then you got Montez de la Torre. He's from Spain, and he also plays for UVA. So we can see the score of the match where Draxel ends up winning in 3 sets after two hard-fought close sets before that.
Okay, so part of our proposition is every point. We made a point a minute ago about we look at all the points. So all points end as either a plus, meaning a winning shot or a forcing shot, and sometimes there's some flukes, or a minus, which is think of that just as an unforced error. So when we're looking at the quick look here, what strikes me as I look at this, I guess I always want to look at big red numbers and big black numbers. Big red numbers are the errors, and the big black numbers are, the really good shots. See here, when you look at the totals, for Draxel, you see plus 53 minus 32. When we look at De La Torre, plus 34 minus 40, that's underwater. More unforced, and that's just in the all other shots. When we put the total shots together, his serves made up for it a little bit, but he's still underwater. making more errors than he is winning shots, whereas there's a 5-to-3 ratio of winning shots from Draxel. A lot of that's heavy on the serve. They both broke serve a lot. They lost serve a lot. Draxel got one more service break, and we can find out more as we move down. But at least we have some sense of what we're trying to see here. When we get to the tactical breakdown, this is something I think that's different than what you see in many places. The court chart you see up there, the way we identify where shots are hit from, the deep area is back close to the fence. If I move up closer to the baseline so that it's closer to the baseline than the fence, then we're in the so-called neutral area. And when we get inside the line, that's when the offensive sounding tactics begin, maneuver, attack, conclude. And so as we scroll down, I'm always curious as to what's the differences between what happens behind the baseline versus what happens in front of the baseline. And so I'm taking a look at this for the first time in a while. And personally, I'm a little disappointed. Drexel won the match, but 18 errors from behind the baseline versus 9 winning shots. So that's twice as many errors behind the line as he's offsetting with winning shots. De La Torre, on the other side, 11 and 11, 1 and 1. Well, even that's kind of interesting to me. But here's the thing, and I know this sticks out to you, Dan. This guy made 25 unforced errors from just inside the baseline.
Yeah, for context, at the time this match was played, I think Montez was ranked number 8 in the NCAA, 8 in the nation. That's Division I. And he was ranked 300 and something in the world on the ATP tour. This is not a junior. This is the 300 and something best player in the whole world. Easily one of the best players in all of college tennis. And Draxel is obviously playing at the same level, a little bit better this match. I think this illustrates that everybody has problems, no matter what level you play, unless you're Djokovic, I guess, these days, or Sinner. They're doing so many good things, but they're also shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, where Draxel's making a ton of errors behind the baseline. And when we can watch the video and see all of those errors using this as a guide. And when you look at Montez De La Torre, this is a guy that clearly won the neutral battle. Most of the time, you win the neutral battle, you win the match.
Yeah.
But Draxel made up for it in some key areas where his serve was so dominant, that helped. And not all of his offense was dominant, but most of it was. And, he's 12 and 1 up at the net in the concluding area, 8 and 2 in the attacking area. And here's a reference for that stuff. Montez, because he's winning the neutral battle, he's creating a ton of short balls in these rallies.
Okay, so let me ask you this now. So I'm looking at that huge number 25.
It's huge.
Can I see those points?
Well, yes, you can. You just click on the 25, and we can see them within the scorecard in the context of how the match played out, or we can see the video right now. Which one would you like to do?
I'm a scorecard freak. I do want to see the video, but how about we hit scorecard first?
So we've got these points listed out in what you like to call the crime scene tape yellow.
Yes, I do. I'm very fond of that.
So this is the first game of the match. Then it goes to the second game of the match, where we see we've got a couple of errors in the maneuvering area. Then we scroll down, and as we see here, we got three in a row where,
We're in the second set now, right?
yeah, and he just got
Yeah. Okay.
we got three in a row where he's basically breaking himself.
He's already up a break, I think. Okay, keep going. That's good.
But I mean, you're just littered everywhere.
Okay, so this guy's making a ton of errors from just inside the baseline.
I mean, the
And if
vast
I'm looking
majority
at
of his
this,
errors are coming in the same place. If we want to see those points, click watch points.
watch those points.
So here we got, this is the first of the 25 points played where Montez makes an error in the maneuvering area.
So he's going to be in the blue area.
That's right. And it's
He
nice
does a,
here on the left, right above the court diagram. It shows you the context. What was the set score? What was the game score? When did all of this happen? Which is useful. So we have another point that kind of goes the same way. We'll see how it unfolds. This is how so many of them went. It's a perfect illustration of these 25 errors because the whole point is played on Montes's terms, and he's creating an opening and a shorter ball to move up on top of the baseline and take over or continue to take over.
yeah.
And that's where the errors are coming from.
So he's really worked himself into the points most of the time.
Most of these, he's just
Yeah.
Draxel's just keeping the ball in play and trying to hang in there, and Montez is just working him. And just, I mean, the same
There's a
thing
simple
there.
shot in the net. And when we say he's in the maneuvering area, he's got, 1 foot out, 1 foot in. As long as he gets over up to the line or above it, we're going to call that generally a maneuvering shot, maneuvering opportunity.
And there's different. There's not that many reasons, but where the errors are coming from, and we'll let his coaches, coach him up on that. But I see I see a guy that is, going for too much sometimes with pace, a guy who's going for too much sometimes by cutting it too close, where maybe, the margins are too narrow. And other times it's just like, well, you got to set your feet on that, man. There's some movement stuff that, you can
Yeah,
make
yeah.
life a little easier. And um, that's the kind of stuff that, is so common in juniors, but even at this level, this is a perfect illustration. Hearing that everyone has problems is one thing. Yeah, I can sort of see that, but watching it now, um, really, to me, illustrates like this is a clear part of this guy's game that can dramatically improve. Um, 25, if 25 became, even 10, 10 is a lot. To miss 10 shots throughout a
Yeah.
match in the maneuvering area, 10 is a lot. And if he just came down to 10, he would have won this match running away, despite all of the other things that transpired.
So,
Despite
so one of the things you mentioned earlier, this is a video hub.
That's right.
And so when we went to the breakdown, all you had to do is hover over that big number that we were concerned about and say, I want to watch these points, or I want to see where they happen, at particular points in the match. Um, Why don't you take us back to the breakdown because there's more stages of that that can be helpful to the players.
So here we go.
Yeah. So pause right there. So yeah, 25 errors in maneuver to only 6 winners. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, six
Yep.
pluses, whether they were winners
Six
or
pluses.
had a wrap on it,
Thank you for the clarification there. It's a plus. It could have been a forcing shot.
whatever it
That's
was a good shot that won him
that's
the point.
four times as many errors from that location in the court versus the number of winning shots, pluses that he hit. This is highly unusual. If you look at his neutral, he's 50-50.
Now,
That's
look,
very unusual.
before we progress in this conversation, I should say that uh, it's one match. This is just one match.
Yeah.
However, doing multiple matches on Montez, this is a pattern. And, we've got a pattern of a large number of errors coming from the maneuvering tactical position in every match that we've done for him. So it's not like we're just plucking this match out of thin air and taking it out of context, because people have matches where they're just off in one area sometimes, and it's not a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
My serve, for example, was reliable. It was not huge. Did I have days where it was choppy?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, my net game was a major asset. Did I have days where, may not have quite looked that way? Sure. But when you have multiple matches analyzed like this, where you can watch the video and you can
Yeah.
see the analytics from tactical positions, then you can establish a pattern. And Montez has this pattern where, this is one of the areas that is preventing him from, you know, becoming I think he's a 14 UTR. Well, he could be a 15 probably, and just by working on this one area.
Okay. So I'm curious. I mean, it's still so one of the questions I have when I look at that is, well, 25 errors from maneuver. Can we scroll down and look at the shot breakdown now? So we're looking at Draxel there. We're going to scroll down a little farther to get to Montez. These are his plus shots here.
So right here we've got targets. And so you can check out where all the good shots went. And on the right, these are the tactical positions. You've got the deep tactical position where you're closer to the back wall than you are to the baseline. That means you're in the deep area. Then you've got N for neutral in this whole column. This is where all the good shots were hit in the neutral position. M for maneuvering, A for attacking, C for concluding. And then, you cross-reference with what stroke that that was hit, which, by the way, FR on the top left, that stands for forehand return. F stands for forehand. I think that's an important distinction because we differentiate the return of serve from a ground stroke. And that way you can get real specific with, where the good stuff or where the errors are coming from. And like if you're playing a match where it's just absolutely clean as a whistle from neutral, maneuvering, everything you'd ever want once the point starts, but you lose, you probably ought to take a look at what's going on in the return. And if you got a lot of errors on forehand or backhand return, that's helpful to know as opposed to just going to work on neutral forehands in the middle of a
Yeah.
rally.
Yeah. So let's go down to the red area where he bleeds.
These are
Okay.
these are all the minuses.
Yeah. So look at the maneuvering column. We add it all up, including backhand returns, and then the 13 forehand. Well, it's pretty equal opportunity there, wouldn't you say, Dan? 13 forehands, 11 backhands.
Yeah, it would be simpler if it would just coming from one side, but unfortunately for him, it's coming from both wings. Because as you can see, this 13 right here is forehands, and this 11 is a backhand. So, and then you've got two backhand returns. I mean, He didn't miss that many returns throughout the whole match.
These weren't all from the maneuvering area, but if you look over there and you see shots into the net on the forehand, 10 of his forehand errors, half of his errors on forehands. He had 21 total errors on forehand. Half of them are hit into the net.
It's a lot of balls in the net.
Yeah. But if he wanted to look and say, okay, I want to see all those forehands from maneuver that I missed, or all those backhands from maneuver that I missed, all you got to do is go over to get the backhand line, go over and find the maneuver. He's got 11 shots, so just hover over that. Again, we've got this video hub. You can quickly take a look at all those points without having to go through every single point to pick out the ones that he wanted to do.
So like if just by going with this, one of the things I said earlier, he's going for too much. And there's different ways to you can go for too much. You can just literally hit too big, or you can cut it too close, where you're trying to straddle the line, or get it 2 centimeters over the net, or both. The minus shot breakdown, and when you look at the targets, that supports that statement that I made that he's going for too much. Why? Because look at all these shots that he's missing wide of the 5 and wide of the 6. The 5 being a short angle cross court, the 6 being right down the singles alley down the line. And the fact that you've got 10 forehands and 6 backhands, 16 shots in the net. I think that illustrates that, there could be a little more margin on some of these. Now, the context is Draxel was getting a lot of balls back and not doing a ton with it, but he was playing real consistent tennis, and just keeping the ball in play and making Montez work for these points. When you watch the match, it's not like Draxel is a speed demon and they're playing on fast indoor hard courts. So, I don't know that there's necessarily reason to feel like you've got to go for that much when you're Montez, when you're controlling so many points like this, when you're doing very well at the net, when you're playing on fast courts against a tall guy that is not a speed demon.
Yeah, do me a favor, just click on the 11 and click video. So we're gonna close it out here, but I just want you to have a chance to look at this. There he is trying to went in the net. He was trying to go up the line. And by the way, there's the captions down below the score down here that tell you what's coming up. So if you wanted to say, well, I want to, why would I miss that many backhands? Take a look at it. See if you can figure it out. And most of the time, this is a matter of awareness. Doesn't even know he's making mistakes. So Jan, we're going to wrap it up here. Again, Dan McCain with the hat on, Dave Howell with the beard, and we're done.